Congratulations on completing your Illustrator training with Short and Sweet. I hope you enjoyed the training. Now, over the next few days, I'll be sending you some videos about what we covered in your Illustrator training. This is an opportunity for you to recap and just go over some of the key tools and the skills and the concepts that were covered as part of the training. So I do hope you enjoy the next few videos and they help you along on your way. In the first video, we'll be looking at how to set a document up from scratch. Then we'll take a look at the workspace and some of the key areas you need to be aware of, before following up with a few more videos around some of the key tools in the toolbar. Excellent, well let's get started. Okay, so we've just opened up Illustrator and we're in the start screen, which will show us all of the recently opened documents that we have listed here. So if I wanted to open any of these, I can just double click on them. If I want to open a document that's not part of this list, I can come over to the open button here on the left and just click on that and navigate to where I've got a document I need to open. But I'll cancel out of this. And I can also create a brand new document by clicking on the Create New button here. I can also go up to File and New to create a new document from there as well. So I'll click on the Create New button, which opens up my new document window. Now I can change the size of this window down the bottom here if I need to drag it out at all. And we have a menu running across the top where we can decide on what type of document we're going to create, whether it's a mobile device document or a web-based document. I'm going to be working on a print-based document, so I'll click on the print options here, and that just changes my settings here so that I've got some typical sizes that are available when we're working with print. So you can see there I've got A4, A3 is part of the list. I'll choose A4, and then if I want to customize that further, I come over to the right hand side where I have all the settings over here. So starting at the top here, I can choose to rename the document. I can click on my little drop down here and choose millimeters from there. And my orientation, I'm going to set this up so that it is a landscape document. And then artboards, whether or not I want to start with one artboard, you can work with a couple to begin with. You can always add more artboards in as you go. Then we've got the bleed settings. I'm not going to use bleed in this document, but if you were creating something like a poster where you had color running all the way to the very edge of your page, you would probably add maybe 3 or 5 millimeters of bleed to extend it out beyond the trim edge of your page. And then under the advanced options here, there's not really any need to go in and change those. I'm just going to leave this as a CMYK color-based document because it is print-based. And the raster effects, I'll leave at 300 pixels per inch, which is a high resolution. So I'm pretty much good to go. I can come down now and click on the Create button. Okay, so now that I've got the document open, we can see that I've got my tools over here on the left-hand side. I'll actually click on the top of the tools there just to drag them out closer to my artboard. And then I've got the name of the untitled document sitting up there in that tab. And then over on the right-hand side here, I have my panels. And in the newer version of Illustrator, we have this new properties panel, which we'll be taking a look at. There's other panels that are hidden underneath there. And we can also access other panels from our window menu up here. So whenever we need a panel that we can't see on the right, we can always access it from there. With the panels as well, if you do want to keep them open, for example with layers, I can click on the tab here and actually just drag it out from the side there. And I can change the size of my panel here by grabbing the bottom or the lower right corner. And with all the panels, they do have their little flyout menu there on the sides to perform a number of different actions. But I'll just move that panel back across. The other thing with our workspace is that we do have this drop down at the top here, and we can choose from a number of different presets that come shipped with Illustrator. So if I was doing something that was typographic based, I could come down to the Typography Workspace, and that's going to change the panels that I can see here, and these relate to working with text. If I wanted to click on this again, I can come down to maybe the Essentials, which is where I was earlier, and this just gives you the basics. There is also the Essentials Classic. For those that are used to using the older version of Illustrator, the Essentials Classic has the typical panel arrangement that people would be used to in earlier versions of Illustrator, and I do like working in that one. And we can also customize our own workspace. You can see there's a new document workspace button there, which I can select, and I could rename that, and it would remember whatever panels I had open when I did that new workspace. I'll just cancel out of that though. And then running across the top, we have the control panel. Now this control panel isn't actually available when we go to the Essentials workspace. So this new Essentials workspace has removed that. And that's partly because the properties panel now contains a lot of things that used to be available from the control panel. If you ever want the control panel back when you're in this essential space, you can go up to the window menu and you've got the control panel option there. And then we've got our application menu running across the top here, where we've got our file menu for creating new or saving or exporting, editing for doing copying and pasting and that sort of thing, editing our objects, whether that's a path or a shape. We've got our type options here as well, choosing a font and a size, all that sort of stuff. Then we've got our selection options, so doing things like selecting and deselecting. We've got our effects, so doing things like drop shadows and those sort of special effects, changing our view, zooming in and out. And then we've got our window menu, which is where we have our panels again. The help menu is also very good. It's pretty good at just finding what you need. As long as you know what you're looking for, it's usually quite good at helping you out on your way. Okay, so in terms of the artboard, if I just zoom out a little bit, we can see that this white area here is the artboard, the A4 size with the black line, which is my trim edge. And then outside of that is my pasteboard. This pasteboard area basically is a non-printable space and it's fine to use it as a storage area. When you do an export to JPEG or PDF, it won't include that area out onto the side. Sometimes when you're working as well, you may want your rulers visible in this workspace, and with the new Essentials layout we can actually quickly do that by coming to the Properties panel and turning the rulers on here. But we can also use the shortcut Command or Control on PC R, and that'll toggle back and forth between having your rulers on and off. One benefit of rulers is the ability to drag guides out onto the page as well. So I could click on this ruler at the top here, hold down, drag, and then just drop that onto the page. Or I could come across to the left-hand side here and do the same thing, drag and drop that onto the page. Excellent, so that's a quick intro to the overall workspace in our new document. Next we'll take a look at just creating some basic shapes and how we can use some of the selection tools to help us manage those shapes on the artboard. See you in the next video.